What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm still one of your hosts, David Gussler. I know it's been a little while. We did not disappear. We did not fall into a crevice in the earth. We're not out hunting for Mothman or anything like that. We are back, and we are here to talk, I guess, upcoming playoffs for Charlotte FC. But don't worry, it's not just me and Corey here tonight. We have the man of the hour, the show, the one that everyone truly cares about. Matt Swift is back with us. Matt, how are you, man?
Oh God, I don't even know. Thanks for that intro. No, it's good to be back with you guys. I feel like our schedules have been crazy over the summer, and it's led into the fall a little bit. But yeah, it's good to be back and talking about some positive Charlotte FC stuff.
You mean bled into the best season of the year fall. So I'm glad we're setting the record straight on that one. So, but no, I'm glad to have you back, man. I know it's been a little crazy, wonky, moving house, jobs, work, travel, all sorts of things, man. But we've got Corey Insco in the background here, producer extraordinaire. He might chime in, disagree with my fall take here a little bit later, but that's okay. But we're glad to have him back as well, too. But we got the whole band back together, and we're here to talk through some recent news, I guess, for Charlotte FC, and kind of we'll recap a little bit of what's happened. I know it's been like 2 or 3 weeks since we've done a show, but kind of catch everyone up just in case you've been living under a rock of what Charlotte's done and what's to come, because they still have technically one more game left in the regular season, and then kind of talk playoffs a little bit. And I think we had some player news recently too, Swift. So let's dive in. I mean, it's been a while since we've actually talked through the team outside of just text messages and games. But Swift, I mean, how are you feeling the past, say, last month, 30 days worth of games? How do you feel Charlotte FC is going, and how are they heading into the playoffs, you feel?
I feel great. I feel like we've really kind of hit a good stride. I think the new additions to the team have fully integrated and are starting to play well. And I think people are starting to see the connections and how that's paying off. We were super worried about goals, and we've had plenty. The past 4 games, I think we've had 11 goals in 4 games. So it's been quite the turnaround. So all positive stuff, and it's a good time to get going as we head into this last game. Still lots to play for, and playoff seeding implications, and then off into the playoffs we go.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I know we were being pretty critical. I know me and Corey were being a little critical, and I know we were a little critical after the summer window about really the offensive output from the club, right? And we were kind of struggling to create goals. We brought in a designated player on loan. We have a designated player in Lille, and we have Karol Swiderski that came back to the club, and we were kind of sitting back and going, hey, when are these goals going to happen, right? And we were very solid defensively, and all of a sudden, the last 3 games or so, like we just kind of, I don't want to be really punny here, but we opened the vault and got made some deposits into the goal scoring category. In fact, looking. I know. Wow. Look at me go. It's. Wow. I've been stewing on these for weeks, is what I've been doing. So, so I'm looking at the table right now. And we went from being a negative goal differential team, or even just being flat or even negative, to now being a positive goal differential team. Like we've scored 43 goals, and we've been scored on 37 times. And if you think about it, you take out one of those games in the past 3 or 4 weeks where we got scored on 2 or 3 times, which I'm a little salty that 1 or 2 of those goals counted against us anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could even be even that much better. And all of a sudden, Karol Swiderski, Patrick Agyemang, Lille, Pep, all are contributing in good ways, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think there's been better link-up play. Again, I think Pep Biel getting more acclimated, being in the middle and creating, and then even using him out wide at times too, and just having a little bit of flexibility with who we can bring in off the bench and everything too has been highly beneficial. And I think Swiderski, again, starting to get back into his stride. I think there was just a real sense of not knowing where everybody was going to play and everybody kind of getting acclimated. And, we changed out the back line, and, we had Tim Ream and and Malanda in the middle, and all of a sudden we're kind of leaking goals a little bit, and then we make an adjustment there too. So I think it was just a matter of kind of getting through those games, through that rough patch, and then just hitting our stride exactly when we need to, and figuring out some things. So there's lots of positive going into this last game, and then into the playoffs.
So not to bring up the past too much here, but I know, and you can discuss the previous games if you want, but you kind of mentioned it a second ago, but just really the change in defensive style, and I guess the players we had, right? Like me and Corey were on here, 4 months ago, talking about Tim Ream, and like, oh, you got to start Tim Ream. You come in, you don't sign a player like that to start. Kind of dethrones Andrew Privet within 2 or 3 weeks of being here. Starts for us, and I don't think the defense played terribly during that time frame, but it also wasn't as stout and getting clean sheets like it had been earlier in the season, which, for the record, I think we're still top 3 in clean sheets in the league. So it's not like we're sitting here and everyone's caught up to us. It's just we're still doing really well, right? Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, I think, what was it? I can't remember if it was Miami or the game before Miami, where Yuri got, I don't want to say concussed, but like had some kind of injury, a head injury, came out early, had some substitutions. Then the next week, he's on the bench, and we see against Miami, Tim Ream playing left back, Andrew Privet back in the starting lineup, Malanda at right center back, and Nathan Byrne at right back. And it worked, and they've done it now for 4 games in a row now.
Yeah,
so do you think that is something where, like, because it's almost like a logjam effect a little bit, because Privet's played pretty well being back in the starting lineup. Yuri's always been playing pretty sound defensively for us at left back. Now Tim Ream, I didn't expect him to come in and be a left back for us at age 36, 37. But what do you think, Dean's going to do in the future here at the back line?
It's a good question. I think you kind of, and look, I'm a big Yuri fan. I have a jersey with his name on the back. He's one of my favorite players, but you have to kind of go with what is working. I think what Tim can give you out on that left is his really solid left foot, and how we're playing this year is a lot of the balls out of the back, and he can give you that service where Yuri is not quite that. He's more of the type of player that's going to, make overlapping runs and get down the wing and cross balls in. That's not Tim's style of play. Tim's more stay at home, be a natural defender, but use that left leg to get the ball up forward. And that's just right now, that's how we're playing. Now, I think he will probably go with that. If I'm an opposing team, though, I'm going to try to exploit Tim Ream with speed out on the wings. At that point, depending on who we're playing, you might see Dean go back to Yuri. Or if he sees an area where we can get our, outside backs, Nathan Byrne and Yuri, down the field and overlap and cross balls in, you might see a change there. But right now, it doesn't seem to be broke. So don't change it.
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed more of in the past 3 or 4 weeks that's also helped, and while Tim is not one that's going to do this, Nathan Byrne has been playing almost in like a wing back position. He has been pushing so far up, creating more offensive chances, crossing the balls in, making overlapping runs. And it seems like him and Pep have now also, and I haven't even talked about Pep even starting at right wing versus, at the cam position. But it just seems like they've got a nice kind of thing going on there on the right-hand side. And, or even, Leo Abada when they alternate back and forth a little bit too, right? But it just seems like Nathan's been unleashed to kind of push up more, right?
Yeah, I think I think we've seen where, Nathan can dribble the ball well, and he can kind of penetrate well too with the ball at his feet. So he can help kind of break lines and create something out of the back and start drawing that midfield out of position, so we could play better through the channels. And he can overlap and play those balls in and create some service outside of at the wing. But I like what he's given the team, and so far this season he's been absolutely phenomenal.
and we'll talk about that extension and things like that here in a little bit too. But yeah, so I mean that's been one big change, and then I wanted to pick your brain on the midfield kind of changed. So one player that has all of a sudden, I don't want to say cemented his spot in the midfield at the number 8, but someone that hasn't been playing very much. I mean, he played very early on for us. I almost want to say out of necessity. If you think back in like February, like we literally had him on trial in California during that preseason tournament, and then signed him right before the season started. But Junior Urso, right, and has come in and kind of slid that number 8 position, and then Brant Bronico's come in and is now playing kind of a central attacking midfield position, which is, everyone's thought of a DP there, right? Which is crazy to say that. But and then you have Pep and Leo now on the wing. So why make that change? And like, what do you think it's working all of a sudden that we've gotten the most output from a goal perspective than any other point so far this season?
Well, I think, definitely when we play teams like Miami, we want to dominate and clog the middle of the field. And I think Junior is just a beast. He's physical. He's also, pretty good on the ball himself too. I think, Gianni's probably better on the ball, but he's not as physical, not as rough and tough. I think Junior just gives you that bite in the middle that we need against teams. I'm still a little apprehensive about Bronico's positioning, kind of more advanced. I still like him kind of staying back, playing more defense. That's where I think we still might struggle some creating. But if we're winning the midfield, because you got Ashley Westwood and Urso and Bronico, all very, kind of defense first players, and all three have a really great engine and can run all over the field. So I think that's been helping us kind of keep forward and keeping our shape. And I think that's been kind of like a big difference. I think when we were struggling, there were these huge gaps between the back line and the front line. And there was the spacing was not right. I think we fixed that with the guys that we have in the field right now, the past 4 games. So we'll see how that kind of plays out and going into DC. And then see if Dean's going to stay with that during the playoffs. But I think that's been a huge change and a huge benefit, and Junior Urso has been a big part of that.
I think what it's also done, and so like, obviously we signed Pep to kind of be that creator for us, right? And well, when I say signed him, we have him on loan for that perspective, right? And I'm not saying he struggled with that because he hasn't. But when he got thrown in there at that cam role, it seemed like they were still trying to gel and put things in there. But with him kind of being at this right wing, left wing, and with Lila Bata basically being able to alternate and switch sides whenever they feel, right? It feels like there's more freedom for him, right? Yep. And that chemistry between him, Carroll / Patrick, Brant, and Abada, it's like I don't want to say they have free reign, but they understand where they need to be and their spacing and where to go. And like they're making runs in the space and passes into space, assuming that's where the player is going to be. Like I think of that Brant Bronico to I think Abada pass. I can't remember what game it was, where it's like this back heel flick into the box kind of. And like you only make that pass if you assuming and trust the guy's going to make the run there. And Abada was there and had a shot and created a shot and ended up getting a rebound and getting under the goal, right? And so I feel like that's kind of what Dean wants out of his wingers a little bit, and we haven't had that all year. We had some younger guys come in like Vargas and things like that, and I never saw Vargas cut inside like that and make those runs like that we've seen with Abada or Pep in that position.
Yeah, not to knock Vargas too much, but he is very, I think, and again, we watch him play week in, week out. I think he's very predictable how he plays. And I think he has struggled this year, honestly. So the addition of Pep being able to play on the wing, and you have a bot on the field at the same time playing the other wing, I think that's been super beneficial. I also think it's kind of maybe like a kick in the butt to Vargas too. Like, hey, you're replaceable. Now you're on the bench. So now when he comes in, he has something to prove, and there's this fire and energy, and like I think that's what we need. And how great is it now to have that option? Um, I looked at, the past couple games. We have Pat, Yuri Tavares, and Vargas coming in off the bench now, and I think that's pretty great to have, and it's paid dividends. But yeah, I think having Pep being able and Abada being able to, like you were saying, have some free reign, being able to cut in. And, when we talked to Zorn, he had mentioned this kind of like starting, Abada and Swiderski starting to link up, and he was really excited about that, but we just didn't see it on the field yet. Now I think we're starting to see kind of that dynamic, which is nice.
So now what do you do with Carroll and Patrick? Because it does seem like we've kind of got a nice situation going on, right? I think Pat had a little bit, I can't remember if it was a foot or a toe injury there for a little bit. I know you're a big Patrick fan and Pat guy, right? But Carroll there for a little bit was looking kind of, we even me and Corey mentioned it a few weeks ago, was like, what's kind of going on with Carroll? Like, we were worried that even like if he is going to move back to Europe, like this window's and this performance has not been super great for him. But the past 3 games or so have been all of a sudden a switch. But I mean, it's also correlates with switching the players at the wingers position, the switches at the midfield. All of a sudden, he's getting distribution. He's getting chances created. He's getting into the box. Like I there was one goal where, what was it? The keeper kind of made a save, but it bounced off, and Carroll all of a sudden kind of like towed it and poked it back into the goal. Like, I don't think we see Carroll do that 3 years ago. Like that was not his type of MO of crashing the box and being in there and being more physical within that space. But now, like, it seems like he's more apt to do that and trust that he can have an opportunity to do that. But Pat's looked pretty good come off the bench as well too. Like it's coming in as that super sub, being able to run on tired legs. I know you've preached that for a while, but do you think this is kind of the rest of the year, what we kind of see between Carroll and Pat, or do you think we start Pat again, or what would you do from that point of view?
I hope it's exactly what happened at Montreal. I think Swiderski has something to prove. I think he realizes that maybe he said some things when he left the first time that maybe he regrets, or maybe said a little differently. He's kind of mentioned in interviews, like, I don't, look at social media too much, but I have heard and read some of the comments, and I think he wants to win over the fans. And so I think that there is that like extra effort to get the goal that you were talking about. But I have been wanting this dynamic from the get-go. Like, you start Swiderski, he does well, doesn't do well, whatever the case is. Hopefully he gets a goal and everything like that. And then you bring Pat in the second half, and it just light teams up. And I think the Montreal game was the almost perfect game in the sense of Swiderski, Pat, Dean making the subs that he did. Because I really, really loved the subs and the timing of the subs of that game. And I think that is exactly the blueprint that I want to see going into this last game, and hopefully making a deep run into the playoffs that way.
Yeah, it's been nice to see Carroll get goals that are not just PKs, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what he had at the beginning when he first got here. But I mean, he's been pretty lights out, and he's been aggressive, and he's been playing more physical, and playing off the ball and making runs into the box, and all the things we kind of wanted to see more of from him. And then Pat's coming in, and it's ironic. Like, that's what Pat's known for, be more physical, crash in the box, etc. All of a sudden, Pat's kind of showing it with some finesse moves, right? I think of that one goal where at the end of the game, like, I'm like, I'm just expecting him to kind of run like a giraffe and just run right to the box and take a shot. But man, he's sitting there, all of a sudden he's doing like, crossovers and forces it to his left, chips the goalie. And I'm just like, man, like, what a goal by Pat, right? So, Patrick's been lights out the past few weeks as well.
That goal was ridiculously stupid. That poor defender, he made him look, just so unbelievably bad. So here's the thing, like, when Pat got that ball from Bronico, me and Steven and I, we stand up, we're like, take it to the corner flag, trying to like kill off the game. And he starts dribbling towards the box. I'm like, no, like, don't give the ball away. And Pat like was damn determined to score a goal. And that's the other thing too, and kind of going back to the Vargas situation, you want guys hungry to make a point when they come on the field. You know, however we want to frame this, like Swiderski and Pat are competing for time and minutes, right? And starting. Same with Vargas. So when Pat comes in and he's hungry, like he was going to go to goal. Like he probably should have taken it to the corner flag and killed off the game, but no, he was bound and determined to score. And it was like the most amazing thing. Like the footwork, just how big this dude is to move those big legs and as fast as he is. He's just, I really, really love watching him play. It's something like, magical. I don't know if it's magical, but it's like it's so refreshing to watch a guy just run at somebody and not have any fear, just go.
So not to go down too big of a rabbit hole with Patrick, but I mean it's been pretty well documented that Patrick is. I'm trying to pull up what his salary is, but um, is on a very very team friendly rookie deal.
Yeah.
And I think Willie P interviewed Zoran. I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet today, but there's been a lot of talk and chatter recently about like, hey, is Charlotte going to extend him, re-sign him? I think the team has an option or two, right, to kind of have a team deal, extend his contract if they wanted to from that point of view. But if you're Charlotte right now, you're looking at a 23-year-old guy who is leading goals for the team at 9 goals. 1 goal away from being a double-digit goal scorer with only 1,800 minutes compared to like a Corin Vargas who's played 2,700 minutes and has only scored 6 goals this year, right? Mm-hmm. So comes in I don't want to say a very tough situation, but we're basically replacing a DP and Enzo Capetti and is being asked to play basically 90 minutes every game because we had no depth at the, position. And now you're looking at it potentially in the offseason. What would you do if you're Zoran, if you're Charlotte FC for Patrick? Like, I'm not saying that you're going to sit there and put a DP tag on him, but you got to pay him more than $70-something thousand a year to be this kind of starter, right?
Yeah, if he keeps doing what he's doing, I mean, you got to pay that man some money, and you got to keep him. I mean, Patrick's going to get paid. It's either going to be us or some other team in this league. I mean, I look at a lot of teams that are struggling for goals, and I would be salivating to get Patrick on my team and be a starter. So he's going to get paid. I hope this front office is the one that pays him because I'd love to keep him. I think he's a good culture fit. He's really good with the fans. He just personally as a human being, he's super nice and then just very skillful and awesome and fun to watch. So I hope we keep him.
I can't remember who it was, and I wish I saved the tweet or whatever it was, but someone from MLS Network or MLS on Apple TV came out and said that they kind of compared us. I can't remember if it was Minnesota or Columbus or somebody where they had a drafted player like a Patrick Agyemang that was scoring basically 8 to 10, 11 goals a year, and they didn't re-sign him because I don't know if it was because of a stigma, because it was a MLS draft pick. It wasn't someone they didn't value as much, and they let him walk. And they kind of regretted making that decision because they lost out on a player that was scoring essentially double-digit goals as a super sub or potential starter from time to time. I just hope that the team doesn't do that because I do think there's a place for Pat on this team. And, is it a 90-minute starter for 30-plus games, like right this second? Maybe not, but maybe the next year after that? Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Swiderski. And players like Pat it's kind of like the blueprint of draft them, get 2, maybe 3 amazing seasons out of them, and then sell them for a boatload of cash, and then rinse and repeat. So a player like Pat, I mean, they're going to come and go, just because they're going to be in high demand, and it's going to be hard to turn down probably some of the money that we might get for someone like him. I would like to see him re-signed for a couple more years. But again, if a team comes calling and they bring a lot of money, I think it'd be hard to turn down. But I'm hoping we can keep him at least for one more season, if not 2. We'll see.
Not to go down this like speculation hot take conversation, but do you see Pat being in a top 5 league though? Like because like I guess that's where I'm like, because like there was a report that came out today where I think it was some report or some show where they quote unquote surprisingly stacked MLS as like the number 8th or 9th best league in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Above teams like above leagues like Championship, above Liga MX, et cetera, from that perspective, right? And so unless he goes to like England, France, Italy, Germany for Bundesliga, right? Like, why wouldn't he just want to stay in the States with the way that MLS is growing and developing? You know what I mean? Unless you said it's just like a buttload of cash and it's a Serie A team or something like that. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I see that quite yet. Do you?
England, I don't see it yet. The Eredivisie, I could see him absolutely crushing that league, just because it's a goal scorers league. He's a big dude and fast. I think he would kill everybody there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much Patrick is enjoying his time here. He seems to like it. So I guess that's going to be kind of like a personal question. Like, do you want to stay here? And again, I think the Swiderski scenario, that's going to probably dictate a lot of things.
Sure. Yeah. And that was just, me recklessly speculating. Like, all of a sudden, please don't quote this show and be like, 3 years from now, and Patrick's like, playing in Bundesliga and be like, that David Gustler guy, what a tool, So no, I'm just not. Please don't do that. I will celebrate Pat 1,000% if that's the case. So, but no, I was just curious on that perspective, because I do think MLS is rising, and I think the quality of play is increasing. And I mean, I think you even saw the new, and I forgot his name, I'm sorry, the new U.S. men's national team coach even came out and said that there's a value of players getting more significant minutes in like maybe lower division leagues than sending them to these higher division leagues and them riding the bench, right? And so, I think that's where MLS needs to lean in on and say, hey, if you want to get to, say, a U.S. men's national team level place or a, other, development, then that's going to be able to be the spot for you to go versus say, I'm going to send you to England and be a fringe Premier League team and ride the bench and not play more than, 12 or 13 games a year.
Yeah. Well, I think MLS has to make sure that they are competitive from a salary perspective. I think they need to make sure the minimum. I think the minimum needs to be increased. That's how you can keep people when they're kind of maybe on the fence about something. That could be a decider. Like, well, you know what? Why would I move? I'm established here. My family's here, et cetera, or I want to start a family here, and I can maybe not make as much money over there, but it's close enough. But MLS needs to be competitive from that standpoint.
So what's I don't want to say transition, but transition. So let's transition abruptly to some of the extensions, I guess, from a player perspective, right? So since last time you were here, Charlotte has announced a plethora of extensions for the club.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on. So
I know, right? Who we got? So we've extended Ashley Westwood, extended Nathan Byrne, extended Christian Kalina. Yeah. So I mean, those are all pretty familiar names for a lot of the people on the streets for Charlotte. But like, what significance is that? And is like, what do you want to share? At least with the Byrne and the Westwood, I think me and Corey covered a little bit, but we have not discussed the Kalina extension. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, on which one? All of them or just Kalina?
All of them, all the extensions in MLS. Do it now. Let me show you.
Well, the Byrne one is interesting to me because that kind of puts Jalen Lindsey's time here in jeopardy, in my opinion. I could see Jalen going somewhere else, sadly. I'm a big Jalen fan. Always have been, always will be. And if he does move, I will absolutely cheer him on. Hopefully he doesn't go to a Eastern Conference competitor. But anyway, so that is interesting to me. I do think Nathan Byrne this year has played lights out. So it is well deserved. It just kind of sucks that that's kind of keeping Jalen on the bench. Nathan Byrne's age worries me a little bit. And if Jalen does move on, who's going to be the backup there? But I guess that's something that the front office can figure out later. The Ashley Westwood signing makes me so unbelievably happy. Ashley, I know, loves it here. His family loves it here. And I think between like him and Bronico, I kind of look at these two as our kind of like quintessential Charlotte FC main players. We really haven't had that yet. Like kind of like they're like our quote unquote marquee player, all-star kind of person. And I think Ashley being the captain, having the background that he has, I think he's kind of fulfilled this role. And I think he's been probably, I'm venturing to say, if not one of the best signings we've had, just, all things considered, everything that he's doing for us on and off the field. So I'm super excited for him in that regard. And then Kalina, again, kind of like Nathan Byrne, last year, maybe not their best. This year, Kalina has been absolutely phenomenal. We kind of always joked around about Kalina's distribution, like getting the ball and kicking it out of bounds. That has stopped. He really hasn't made any like huge gaffes like he has in the past. He's just been he's been solid, and it's good to have kind of like that bedrock there in the back. He better freaking win MLS Goalkeeper of the Year, or I will freaking riot. He deserves it. All the stats say that he should be it. He better freaking win it. And just, again, like has just progressed year over year. And he's just been so fantastic this season.
He's also getting some MLS pundit buzz on it too. I think Matt Doyle and I think Tom Bogert were going back and forth on some of their predictions on those awards, and they've even put Kalina in there as number 1, number 2, back and forth. And there's, I mean, it has to be number 1 from this year. I mean,
just the stat. I mean, the stats don't lie. I mean, like, what can you say? I mean, like,
which is really funny that he wasn't even selected for MLS All-Star. Could win Goalkeeper of the Year. But that's okay.
I'll just get angry again.
That's like saying I'm gonna. It's like winning, NFL Rookie of the Year and then not getting selected to the Pro Bowl or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's just like it's craziness.
That's stupid.
But no, so Nathan Byrne, first, I want to circle back to 2 or 3 of these. So Nathan Byrne, how dare you say his age worries you when he's 4 years younger than me? So how dare you? So no, I agree with you. I mean, I don't want to belabor the point from that, but I think I texted you with that when that announcement came out. I was like, ooh, that kind of makes me worried about what Jalen's future looks like. But and I'm not saying that as a poor way, right? I'd be happy for Jalen to get minutes, and and I want him to get minutes.
Sure.
I want to selfishly keep him here, but I also know he's not going to sit there and want to ride the bench for 2 or 3 more years. You know what I mean?
Not at all. And when he could very much start on probably most teams. Yeah.
Yep. So it's interesting. I think Greg from the Slack channels made a kind of a joke about hopefully he doesn't get picked up by San Diego in their expansion draft, but I could totally see that happening.
I could very, 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 very much see Jalen going to San Diego.
It'd be great. I mean, Jalen, if you're listening, which you're probably not, but that's okay. San Diego has great weather, so I would not be too upset if I was you.
I could see him going to Red Bull. Oh my God, because you would have
please don't do
freaking Tolkien on one side and Jalen on the other side. Yeah, that would be a nightmare.
Just don't go to Atlanta and don't go to Red Bull. I'll be like anywhere else. Yeah, I would understand. Just don't.
San Diego would be awesome though. I think.
Yeah,
I don't want to lose him. I want to keep
1,000%. Yeah.
If something were to happen to Byrne, it's great to have that as an option. Like if something were to happen to Nathan and Jalen came on, you would be like, oh crap, we are screwed. So
I think Nathan's gotten yellow card accumulations before, and Jalen's had to come in and play and whatever, and he's been fine. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's a good problem to have. So I just wanted to say that from the Nathan Byrne. Nathan Byrne's been light out, well deserved. Mm-hmm. I'm really happy with him here.
Yeah.
Which again, going back to credit FO for identifying talent like that midway through the first season and bringing them in and being able to find a player like that and really build the talent we have here. Right.
Yeah.
Ashley Westwood, everything you said, I agree with. Great, a great leader, face of the club kind of type situation. Good, person to be able to be that liaison for other players especially coming from Europe, is a good liaison coming in here. And I don't know if you noticed, but the Padded Seat account did a behind the scenes thing in Charlotte recently at the Montreal game. And they were like, oh, there's even some familiar faces here in Charlotte. And they featured Ashley Westwood for a second and high-fiving him and, doing that kind of stuff. So it's a name recognition even for those folks in England to be able to say, oh, Ashley Westwood's still playing and he's in Charlotte and he's doing this, right? So really happy for him perspective. And then Kalina's interesting because I think I'm really happy he got an extension. We have some really good youth and depth coming in. And it's almost like a logjam behind him because you saw us recently, and that's other player news. We put George Marks out on loan, Las Vegas Lights. So Sean McIntosh, former friend of the show, former CFO, now the CEO of Las Vegas Lights, came in and swooped in Mr. George Marks, and he played the other day. And then you've got 2 to 3 other guys that are coming in through legacy and youth and younger guys coming in for the goalkeeper. So I think it's a good extension for another year or two.
You mean and 2 goalkeeper war champions?
That's very true. I forgot about that. Yeah. So you've got good depth there that's being built from the keeper perspective.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder what the future plan is and who's going to be the one that steps up when Kalina eventually does. I don't want to say fades away, but steps away from Charlotte. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it could be one of the 2 guys that are goalkeeper champions. I'll just say that again.
Could be.
We have some good goalkeepers, man.
All right, so Swift. So I mean, yeah, we got some great goalkeepers going on. We got some great some talent in the back for Kalina in the future. But I did want to pick your brain for a second because I know Corey got to experience the lovely city of Montreal on an away trip recently. Unfortunately, it was a great city, but he did not have a great time at the Charlotte FC game because that was an awful game. Yeah. But you recently went to Miami, I think. So I just wanted to kind of pick your brain on that because, first of all, I don't ever want to see your stories ever again of you. It's like September, I'm working and everything like that, and I'm seeing Swift do like alley oops into a pool basketball goal, and has a pool in the backyard. Then he's going to Miami game. Then he's in a limo, and I'm just like, dude, get out of here! Like, I'm done with you, man. So how was Miami, by the way? It's just very Miami-esque for you to do that.
It was good. We do a guys trip every year. Me and my buddy Steven and Graham and David. But my friend David, him and his family just moved down.
Not me, by the way.
Not the
David. Cool David.
Another David. He just moved right outside of Fort Lauderdale. So he was like, hey, this year for the guys trip, why don't you guys just come down and then we'll go to the game. So perfect. So we did that. His house has a pool, and so we like big kids played dunk ball in the pool. And then we rented a party bus that had a stripper pole in it and all these. Like, it was very strange. Very strange. So
seeing Matt Swift swirl on the stripper pole, by the way, is
I did do that. I did do that. Yeah. But yeah, so all that was fun. But I gotta say, the game was absolutely bonkers and a lot of fun. And we definitely had some folks with us that are, not soccer fans, new soccer fans. So that was kind of cool. So I set, and the reason why I really want to bring this up, because I know a lot of times we talk about the atmosphere in the stadium, and we talk about chants and people not doing the chants, some people doing the chants and everything like that. So one of the interesting things about that game was we sat in the middle of the field, and Miami supporter section is known for being lively and loud and amazing. They're always shown on TV, and I don't know how much they were shown on the broadcast. But yeah, they were super loud and drummed and played the whole time. The funny, interesting thing was nobody in the rest of the stadium was doing the chants. And it's the same thing that kind of happens at Charlotte FC. And I know people have kind of like complained about that on, like the Facebook groups, and there's been some like debate back and forth about that. But I just thought it was interesting, and it was funny. The same thing happened at the Miami game. They do this thing where they stomp their feet. That's kind of like a thing that they do. So like fans over to my left would like start doing that. And then you have the supporter section, like doing their own thing. And then you would have people doing like Messi chants and like Miami chants. And again, the supporter section is kind of like doing their own thing. And I see that sometimes at Charlotte FC games. You'll have the wave that people hate, or they'll just do the kind of like the basic Charlotte FC chants. But it just kind of made me feel, I guess, made me feel a little bit better about it. Like, it just takes time for chants to, and I feel like the more basic, the better. But it just kind of like put things in perspective for me too, that seeing a supporter section that's supposed to be one of the best in the league, and they were great, whatever, but I don't think they're better than ours, but they were good. But it was funny, like no one in the rest of the stadium were doing the chants or singing or anything like that. They were kind of like doing their own thing, and I think that's kind of the issue that we have at Charlotte FC too. But so it was kind of good to see that in a way, kind of like I said, put things in perspective.
I don't know if I'm just going to disagree with you for 2 seconds here,
Sure.
so don't kill me. I don't know if I would want to compare ourselves to a fan base that was not existent until Messi came.
Oh yeah.
And then I also worry that fan base is not going to be the same, and supporter section going to be the same once Messi leaves.
Oh, probably not. Probably
right.
not. But like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, like, you'll see on Facebook people kind of bickering back and forth about
I know.
Oh, look, we just do this chant, everybody will sing, and like, if we have people chanting louder, the whole stadium will do it, or if we have more drums, people will be more energized. And it was the same thing at Miami, and they're supposed to be one of the best. And like, I mean, the place was absolutely packed. People were going nuts, and the sports section were doing their own thing and whatever. But like the regular fans were enjoying it, clapping, yelling. It's not like they were sitting there with their arms crossed. They just weren't doing the chants. So, and a lot of their chants are the same thing that we do, and what every other team does too. So,
Vamos,
exactly.
And Matador and all that stuff. And
exactly, all the same stuff. But again, like, I'm not knocking anyone. I'm not saying anything. But it was just kind of nice in a way to see, like, hey, we're not the only team that sometimes struggles getting the rest of the stadium to do exactly all the chants. But
not to be very whataboutism on this one, but I will tell you, I bet, and I don't know if I want to open this can of worms or not, but I bet if the pricing in MLS wouldn't continue to increase at the way and the rate that it is, you would probably have more fans that would sing and chant. I'm not saying it's all everybody, because it's not everyone that wants to do it, but I'll use Miami as an example, has tripled and quadrupled in terms of price points. And so only the supporter section is where those folks that want to do that for the most part and can get affordable tickets to do so. I think if you see the rate that MLS is continuing to increase tickets, 5 or 6, 10 years from now, you're going to see those sections even get smaller and smaller, because it's just an ongoing issue. But that's not me. I don't want to go down a huge rabbit hole from that perspective.
No, it's a good conversation to have. Like, I think there is this kind of dynamic of people that sit in the sports section in the North Family, because I will go ahead and tell you, I'm not where I say I'm not gonna do the chants. I'm there to watch the game and do my thing and analyze and like whatever. That's just not my thing. It's not what I'm gonna do.
What you mean? I saw you on the Capo stand not too long ago. What are you talking about? I'm
So I mean, and so, but the thing is like, not one's not better than the other. So, but again, it was just like I said, the place was packed, and I think, to your point, it's because Messi, and again, there were Messi chants, right? There was like, people were there specifically to see him.
I think you saw how many people stormed the field, by the way, just to be able to take a selfie with Messi.
Oh my God! So I don't know how much they showed on TV. There were 4 people, and when I say people, kids, 4 kids that got on the field. And one of them actually got a photo with Messi. And so here's like this thing. It's like, so one of the kids that stormed the field, he actually came back and sat like a section over from him, and everybody was cheering him. And I'm like, if that's an adult, they're kicked out of the game and banned for a year or ever. But it's kind of like a kid, so like, they kind of get away with it. I don't know. It's like, so it's going to be like this weird thing. Like, how do you how do you police that? You know, like you're not gonna like kick a kid out. I mean, that's pretty bad, you know, and you're not gonna ban a kid. So it's just weird. But there were four of them. There were four kids, and one of them, dude, it was crazy. Like the game was going on, and they did not stop the game. They probably didn't show this one on TV because it was he never made it across midfield, but the game was in the box on one side of the field, and this kid was on the other side where Miami's goalkeeper was, and he was trying to, of course, run the full length of the field to get to Messi, and he was juking all these like security guards, and they could not catch him. And the referee had not looked and was not seeing this. I'm like, the ball is going to come back down the other way, and there's just going to be a kid like down there. It was insane.
See, that's the crazy thing. And Messi has his own bodyguard that patrols the sideline back and forth and just follows him step by step, and and still has that happen. But that's why I wonder in a stadium or a fan base like Miami, and you know, not to go down a Inter Miami or MLS conversation, I don't think that fan base or that is sustainable. Like I just don't, because I think the minute Messi leaves, they're no one, and they'll have a beautiful stadium, and yes, you're gonna have that newness, and they're probably, you know, hoping and praying that Messi will not retire before that new stadium opens up, because if Messi retires and they open that new stadium without Messi, it's going to be rough, and they're not going to have the sustainable fan base because they're there just for Messi. Like they're literally 100%. Just there for that.
And most I would say most of the supporter section is there for him.
Yep.
But I will say probably what they'll do. David Beckham's not a dumb person. He'll probably get another. He'll Mbappe, Neymar. He'll bring in more people. Like it'd just be like.
But do you think Mbappe is going to have kids storm the field to take a selfie with Mbappe?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I'm not in Miami. I mean,
I don't. I do. I think him, Neymar, all those guys. Messi's like on a whole other level though.
Yeah.
I think you're right there, but I think what Miami will continue to do is bring in those like marquee guys kind of towards the end of their career and make a big spectacle of it. But
you're going to hear it here first. Miami is going to bring in Patrick Agyemang when he is 38 years old, because
that's right.
Kids
are going to storm the field
because he's going to storm the field, and because he won the Golden Boot in Premier League with Man United, and whatever. Who knows? So I'm just, I didn't want to say Arsenal or Fulham because then whatever. But anyways, yeah. So anything else from the Miami game or trip there, Swift?
Okay. No, it was. No, I will say just the game in general was awesome. And I was really proud of the way we played. We did not hunker back. We took it at them. We shut down Messi as much as you can. But Messi did a Messi thing. And like, what can you do? But I was really proud of the way we played.
Absolutely. And I think kind of sparked this run of play that we had recently. So let's keep it going. And we'll do this. But Swift, I don't know if you hear that music coming up here in just a second, but that means it is ad read time here with our sponsor. So we'll be right back after a word from our partners at Manscaped. Hey, Corey. Hey, Swift. How's it going? Hey, so I know we're really busy talking about soccer here, but Swift, I need you to listen up for just a second. I need you to forget about your balls for a second. And don't worry. I heard they're great.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Go ahead.
I need you to meet the new MVP for your shower routine. And I'm going to introduce to you the Scalp Buffer. And no, it's not just another razor or deodorant for the Southern Hemisphere. Those are great too. Manscaped does great stuff for that. But it's all about your scalp and a little TLC. So let's talk about why this is the only silicone toy that you need in the shower. So Corey, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about silicone toys, Matt.
Let's get weird with it. Go ahead.
I've got 2 words for you, and they're not silicone toy. Ready?
Oh.
Actually, 3 words. I'm going to give you 3 words.
Okay.
Thick silicone bristles. All right?
Weird. Okay, but I'm intrigued. Go ahead.
Yeah. This Scalp Buffer is a silicone grooming tool designed to exfoliate your scalp, stimulate blood flow, and enhance shampoo performance for a cleaner and healthier head of hair.
I've been wanting to enhance my shampoo performance.
Right?
So this is good.
Because a lot of times, like guys, let's be honest, guys, we got the short hair most of the time. Most of us have short hair. You get in there and you just kind of throw the shampoo in. And yeah, Dave's got no hair, so he has no idea what we're talking about. He's like, "What is this?" You just kind of throw the shampoo in. You do like a little scrub, rinse out, and you're probably done. Then you're like singing or doing whatever else you do in the shower. But look, there's a lot more you can do to make sure that you're taking your shower game to the next level.
There's a lot more you can do in the shower. Is that what you're saying, Corey?
Yeah, I am. There's a lot of activities to be had with your silicone toys in the shower. So one of the coolest features is that it's designed to stimulate blood flow in your hair follicles.
Ooh.
And increased blood flow equals healthier hair. And also, like, there's a lot of germs up there in the hair. So using this gets rid of those germs. They're not hitching around your head. They exfoliate your scalp. They reduce flaking caused by dry skin and buildup. And really, the biggest thing I would say that this thing does is it enhances the shampoo penetration for more foam and less product use when you're using your shampoo. We like to save money. Like, we don't want to pay for shampoo all the time. So a little less goes a lot more with that nice penetration of the shampoo into the hair there. Your shampoo lasts longer. You can save that extra cash for more important things like soccer jerseys, because we're always going to keep releasing more. You got to make sure that fund is topped up so you can get that. You can also pair it with the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner from Manscaped for the ultimate hair care routine. These products are designed to work together, giving your hair the nourishment and strength it needs. So Matt, how do you feel about all this?
I feel like I just went through a lot of emotions. But the biggest one is excitement, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So David, tell them how to get it.
Well, so Swift, thanks for entertaining us and not thinking about your balls the entire time. But
okay, good. That was a long time that I didn't have to think about it.
So I need you to join the 11 million, so not just you, Swift, but 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped for all their grooming needs and to get their scalp buffer today. So with us, you can get 20% off plus free shipping by using our code, which is, again, amazing that they even let us use this, CornDog at manscaped.com. So that's 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code CornDog at manscaped.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Matt, David, it's time for the Q&A. I don't know what happened during that ad read, but it was
pretty exciting.
It was a real experience, for everybody
I feel
involved.
pretty stimulated right now.
Yeah, I'm glad that was our goal, Matt, our one and only goal. All right, so let's dig into some of this Q&A. It's been a minute, so we'll pull up some of these questions we got from our listeners. Thank y'all all for sending in questions. The first one is from Mag for the Crown. Does Dino go with the same lineup that has gotten us 10 points in 4 games? Or does he rotate the squad to keep guys healthy? I'll start with you, Matt.
I think I said earlier, if it's not broke, don't mess with it. But at the same time, it's the last game. We are in the playoffs. So if you were going to rotate, you probably do it here. I mean, there is still a lot to play for. There's also the Southern Belt, championship belt that we're trying to play for. If we win or draw, we win that. And then seeding wise. So I think the easy answer is just keep it the same. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a little bit of rotation.
Yeah. How about you, David?
Well, so last time we took any significant time off was during League Cup, and we came back in a very poor form. So I really need us to not take our foot off the gas and just keep going. So I do agree with Swift. I think if there was a time to do it, this is the time to do it, right? But I would prefer us not to mess with what's worked, to be honest with you. Keep the momentum going. But I think the Southern Belt is within reach, like Swift said. So I need that to happen, because I feel like we should have had it way early on anyways, but they changed their rules and made it so Nashville and whatever, all this stuff. But anyways, but Swift, I'm going to ask you this. Are you going to DC?
No, I can't go this year, and I'm like super bummed, but also like I still like dry heave thinking about Walters
yes,
last year.
I've heard.
So,
So
I think there's a question about. I think
There's a
Jay
question about
sent in the
Walters
question.
coming
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just want to put this note out there, and Corey, I don't know if you can do some editing producers work behind the scenes afterwards for this, and maybe we could play like 5 seconds of it because I don't want to get copyright infringement. But if we win the Southern Belt, I need Jay, since he's going to listen to the show and he has a question about it later, to walk out with the Southern Belt at the next tailgate when we get it to the Macho Man Randy Savage entrance music, you know, like that orchestra swelling up and him walking out. And I need him to have the little creamer cups because, you know, the cream always rises
to the top.
There you go. And have him, you know, doing that whole number, holding it. I need him to do that. So, Jay, if you're listening, we win the Southern Belt. I need you to do that for me right now.
I like it. I was going to segue out of your answer, and then we went on a weird left turn after the part I was going to segue from. So I'm going to have to jump back a second. But my thought on this question was the long layoff is what concerns me. And we definitely have things to play for, but because we've been playing so well with this new lineup, I don't want us to have longer time without playing that lineup, if that makes sense. So I think start that lineup so that we still have that consistency of this is working. We're still comfortable with each other. We're playing well. But I would also say, you know, sub early. That's how you can rotate it as well, too.
Sure.
Is sub liberally and early to get some of those guys off earlier in the match, you know, early second half or halftime, even if that makes sense, depending on kind of other results and things like that. So, yeah, I say don't mess with it.
Can I just add something here real quick?
Yeah.
You know what really grinds my gears? No, I'm just joking. But it's what really grinds my gears is how many international breaks and stupid tournaments there are right now that are causing so much disruptions in MLS this year. I'm so over it. I'm ready for it. Stop playing international friendlies that don't mean anything right now. Just let me play my season. Next year, sure. Build up the World Cup, whatever.
This was really crappy timing for an international break.
We were on a great run of play.
Right
and we're
before
just
decision day.
And then we're like, hey, just kidding. You're going to take a 2-week break and we're going to send all your DPs to play internationally and your starting left back / center back to play internationally. And then he's going to make comments about he's never practiced for so long at the international level for whatever, you know, whatever. I'm not going down that whole rabbit hole of the national team talk, but just stop with the breaks. Let me have my MLS season. Just stop with the breaks.
Yep. All right. Next question before David gets too angry.
Someone's got to rant on this show somehow, Corey.
All right. Greg Fenwick asks, who shines this weekend? The soon-to-be Golden Boot winner or the soon-to-be MLS goalkeeper of the year? David.
I'm going to say Kalina. Screw DC United and that garbage mess there. So I hope Kalina shuts him out and gets a clean sheet again for this and cements, because I know Fenwick loves calling him old cement boots. I hope he cements his standing. I'm so full of puns tonight. Cements his standing for goalkeeper of the year. So what do you think, Swift?
No, that's a good point. This is going to be interesting because DC, they are on 40 points. There's 3 teams below them. Well, there's Montreal and then 3 teams below that are on 37. So decision day is going to be very, very interesting. There's just there really is lots to play for DC, for us.
Yeah.
We talked about the supporter belt. But DC is going to be playing for their lives. You know, Benteke has had a good season, but it would be nice to go into DC where we haven't really had a lot of
success at all. Yeah.
And shut them down. And yeah, like you said, cement Kalina's claim on MLS MVP.
That's just for you, Fenwick, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Love it. All right. Moving on. From Charlotte FC Fanatic. Thoughts on impact of layoff? I guess we already covered this a little bit. I should look ahead at our questions to see what we've already talked about.
Sorry,
but I guess we talked about. I guess we talked about. No, we talked about it in a way of that's why we don't want to change the lineup. But what are you expecting to see? Do you think it will affect us like the Leagues Cup layoff did, or do you how do you think this team will be affected coming out on Saturday on decision day? I'll start with you, Matt.
I think this is a little different, and I think maybe we've probably, I'm hoping, learned our lesson. And plus too, some of our players have had a layoff, but they've been practicing. But some of our other key players are actually playing, so they're match fit, game fit.
Mhm.
Hopefully, knock on wood, no one's picking up any knocks or anything like that. So I'm trying to look for a positive, because it is very easy to look and be like, hey, last time we had a layoff, we come out flat. So trying to look at the positives here.
Yeah.
When I saw the question, I was really scared that we're talking about like MLS ref layoffs or something like that. Like we're about to have replacement refs, but no. No, I agree with you, Swift. I guess that's a good point, because with Leagues Cup, and we lost out on that very quickly. It wasn't like there was international break that caused that. It was just 2 to 3 weeks of just not playing because Leagues Cup. So this is a little bit different. And you're right. Like Carol's played, Leo's played, Yuri's played, Tim's played, and then we've been practicing still and working out. So it's not like it's a vacation. So good point.
All right. Next question from Jay Lance Croner. When you show up to Walters, here's the question we referenced earlier. When you show up to Walters, what's your sequence of beverages? And real quick, I need, for people who don't know who this is, and me, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Is Walters the tailgate bar, or is this a different bar?
So
I've only been one time. Yeah.
Walters is located in the Navy Yard, where Mint City Collective and I think some other supporter groups are kind of staying. And it's near the stadium. But Walters is a bar. So last year, we got there on a Friday, and we go in, and it's around like 11:30 during the day. We don't leave Walters. We don't
already setting this up for
this is bad.
It's like
this is gonna be bad.
We don't leave Walters until 12:30 midnight. So we're there from 11:30 to 12:30.
Holy.
And then we go out to another place. And that's why the next day I didn't drink at all and didn't like go see the monuments and stuff, because I was just I'm too old. I can't hang with all these young kids anymore. But
sounds like an awful time to be like that for 12 hours.
So I mean, and the thing is, like, all of our group was coming in and out, and people were showing up at different times because they were flying in. So it was like kind of like a big like kind of bar gate, tailgate, whatever you want to call it. It was a ton of fun. So the sequence of beverages is beer. Hey, how's it going? You doing all right? And then before you know it, you're getting bourbon shots, and you're getting tequila shots, and then you're getting some shot that looks weird and you don't even know what it is, but you're like, yeah, it sounds good to me. And then, you just feel like crap the next day.
What was that bar tab like?
I don't know. I don't remember much of it. I don't know how much I paid. I don't know how much the group played. Who knows? And people were like getting me shots too. And Jay, who asked it, he's the worst, man. Like, he'd be like, hey, here. He'd have like a tray of drinks here. I'm like, what is this? I don't know.
He's
just
the
drink
worst
like,
or
okay.
the best.
Yeah,
the person who just shows up to you with a tray of drinks, depending
Yeah.
on what time of day or night or the next day it is.
If it's 11:30 in the morning, it's probably not a great sign.
One of the first times I hung out with Jay was actually at an Appalachian FC game,
Oh, yeah.
and we were having fun. And he comes down to the stands and he's like, "Hey, come out to me to the parking lot. You want to drink tequila out of this guy's trunk?" And I should have known then what Jay's capable of.
True story. I remember hearing
Yeah.
about that. Yeah. So
That's
I think
incredible.
the sequence of drinks just has to, the answer to this question here has to be the old saying, liquor before beer, you're in the clear.
Yeah,
Beer before liquor, you've never been sicker.
So that was the thing. I did beer first. You're right, David. And there you go. I should have known.
Here's the actual saying: drink for 12 hours, you're gonna feel like ass the next day.
There you go. That's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, I ate multiple meals in Walters. So it was like
Doesn't matter. It doesn't
brunch,
matter.
and then like literally dinner.
Brunch.
Like it was just.
Do you know there were some like regulars who showed up to their bar in that Friday afternoon? Were like, what is happening right now? When it's like 5 o'clock and they're there for their happy hour drinks, and y'all are 6 hours deep.
You know that bartender that worked that double that day is like, son of a bitch. These people.
But made so much money.
We had 3 different people because we were there so long. Like there was like shift changes.
Oh God.
This is amazing.
So yeah, go if you're in DC.
Go
this
to
weekend,
Walters and say,
go to Walters. Do not. do not do anything that Jay asks you
the
to
Jay
do.
Lance Kroner special.
But yeah, go into Walters. It's actually kind of a cool little
It is a cool
spot.
place.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
cool.
Just don't drink for 12 hours. That will help.
Just in general, it's a good
It's a good life lesson there.
Yeah.
The more you know. Do.
No, there you go. All right, next question from Jay. I can click it. There we go. A more serious question. What do we have to do to get a result in DC? Do you prefer us maintaining current position and playing Cincy, or facing either Orlando or Columbus? And there's a question later too, so I want to give credit to both. From Donnie Embleton, good friend Donnie.
Fat bird.
So actually, we'll listen to the first question of the first part of his question now, which is who do you want in the first round? So I'll go back to Jay's here for people watching online. What do we have to get a result? And would you rather us play Cincy, Orlando, or Columbus? David.
So my expert analysis here on how do we get a result in DC. We score more goals and we stop their shots from going in the goal. But no, I think we keep the momentum and the style of play that we've been doing. I think having Pep and Leal be able to alternate, feel comfortable to go in the middle, Bronico linking up with Carroll, I think that's key, right? Defense, we've been solid for most of the year. I think Privet and Malanda are going to have to be very sound against Patenka. I'm going to butcher this. Help me. Thank you so much. Yeah. But I think they're going to have to be strong and stout in the center there because he's big, right? So now to answer the second part of the question for Donnie and Jay, I would is it possible for us to stay in the same spot and still win the supporters belt and play Cincinnati? I don't know all the scenarios, but out of all of those, I want to play Cincy because we did not look good against Orlando. And I don't think we've ever really looked good against Orlando. And then Columbus has always been a very hard fought game, and they're always very hard in the playoffs.
Yep.
And I have a good feeling against Cincinnati. They have not been as sound and as good at home as they were in the past. So I think we have a better matchup against them, even though they're probably going to be seated in a better situation there. But
How about you, Matt?
I think I would like to play Cincy to everything that David was saying. But there has been a break. Cincy hasn't been playing well, but now there's been a break and some teams rebound back better.
Yep.
So who knows?
Can they get a red card this game and get suspended in the first game of the playoffs? Can that happen?
Yeah. The one team I do not want to play is Columbus. I think just how they are structured, I think they could beat Miami. I would rather play Miami than Columbus.
See, I feel that way against Orlando. We just never played Orlando well, and I just feel like there's I don't want to say kind of like Red Bulls. It's just a team we've just never showed up well against, and it just worries me a little bit,
Yeah, that's the thing too, though. We're kind of due, so maybe Orlando and we haven't played well against them, and maybe that's kind of the thing. So, but I guess if I just had to choose right now, Cincinnati, because they haven't played well, and we typically do play well against them. Just we match up well and we've been able to shut Acosta down with the midfield that we have.
Sure.
So that makes me feel good. So I would kind of just lean more towards that, I guess.
Agreed.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, Orlando doesn't scare me as much. I mean, as it seems to scare you, David, but I think Orlando or Cincy I'm okay with.
He scares me. I just want to avoid him.
I mean, I get that. That's fair. No, neither of those scare me too much. Definitely want to play Columbus. So I would say Cincy first or Orlando second. But all right, let's keep moving forward. Brian Duncan asks, thoughts on having Tim Ream at left back now that he's played there a few games? I guess we touched on this a little bit earlier in the show. Talking about it, and even in the last episode we recorded, we talked a little bit about this kind of new back line. But anything additional you want to throw out there, Matt, about kind of having him at that position now that we've seen it, a handful of games?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it before. Our team's going to be smart enough to kind of look and see, can we exploit that speed-wise? I think that could give us some trouble. But I do like what he's offering coming out of the back. He's good with the ball at his feet. Positionally, he's sound. I think there's a good dynamic there, especially late in the second half when you have Pat up top. Launching those balls up could be a real problem. So far so good. It's keeping my man Yeri on the bench, which is sad, but it is what it is. So far, I would have never thought, put him at left back, but it's working.
It's working.
Yeah, not to belabor the point, I agree with what Swift said. I'm very similar. I did not expect him to be able to come in and play left back and be successful in MLS. I thought the speed and age would catch up to him there a little bit. The only thing that is, I don't want to say worrisome with him at left back, is it does seem to limit us a little bit with that kind of wing back, like what Nathan Byrne does or what Yuri's done in the past, being able to push up more from that perspective. If Ream pushes up into the corner, like he's not getting back on time, right? So that's the only thing. If teams know that, it limits that attack on that side of the field a little bit, because they know that Tim Ream's not going to make an overlapping run like Nathan Byrne and be able to swing a ball in like that. If they're down there and they're doing it, he's going to do it. But that's the only thing I think it limits us on. But defensively, he's been sound. Good connection there. Glad to see Privet and Malanda being able to maintain that connection as well from the middle because of that.
I think one of the saving graces is you've got Westwood and Urso kind of filling in those pockets through the channel where Ream can't get beat with those through balls, like in behind him.
Yep.
If a team can figure that out, then we're in trouble. But I think having them kind of in those holes there helps a little bit. And I wish I had a visual that I could show you exactly what I'm talking about. So hopefully I'm explaining it correctly.
We need to get you one of those like little things where you can draw on the screen, like a John Madden pen, so you can just
draw on a napkin.
Craziness. Yeah.
Draw on a napkin and then show it on Twitter later, Swift, and be like, "This is for the future episode coming up."
It's like Charlie Day, and he's got that board and string all over the place. Yeah,
exactly.
Pepe Silva.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving forward. Let's see. The Panthers Magpie, which is a great name. I think this is a Twitter question, I believe.
This.
So we don't have a real name. All right. Does BL... Oh, hold on. I got to reread this question. Does BL need to be brought back next season on a permanent deal? Is Federski worth taking up a DP spot? Should he be moved on so we can go back in for a big name? And he gives some suggestions, or they give some suggestions, like a Stangs or an Almiron, who we went after in the last window, or some other big name from Europe. So that's a lot of questions all in one, but really looking at, already looking ahead to the next transfer window and looking at some of those loans and DP spots we have, what kind of sets us up the best for success in the future. David, is it your turn to start this time? I believe.
I guess so. Yeah. So the only thing I would say on this is, do I think Pep needs to be brought back next season? If he continues this run of form, absolutely yes. Just maintain it, and please, for the love of God, if we do bring you here permanently, maintain it. Don't fall off after we sign you. Please, just like my Panthers fandom and things like that have just scarred me for free agent deals and things like that. So just make sure you do that. Is Swiderski worth taking up the DP spot? If you asked me this like 3 weeks ago, I would have probably said no. But the recent run of form, if he continues this, again, same thing. Yes, I think it's worthwhile. But is that worth banking on going into next season? I don't know. Like, I like Carroll. I want him here. But I just wonder what if we could bring in if we don't have someone taking up that spot. And then again, you go into the whole situation of if he leaves, do you then have Pat starting, or do you start and go a big DP up top more than Pat? Like, it's a whole plethora of dominoes that just trickles down from there. So,
yeah, you've got one more regular season game to assess Pep, and then playoffs. So you have a few more games to really see how he's going to do if this form kind of keeps going. Right now, if the trajectory seems good. But hey, kind of a good thing is he's on loan, and we're not, 100% committed to that. So you can see kind of the same thing with Swiderski too. See how he plays out this season, and then you make a determination. Sting, that was mentioned. Yeah, no, I'm good with that.
Yeah, no.
Good with that. I think we dodged a bullet there, and kudos to the front office for sticking to their guns and making a tough call and getting roasted on social media, and ended up, like, hey, this was a real concern. So good there. Almiron would be nice, but I don't know that you can get an Almiron if you keep Pep. So again,
why not, Swift? Spend all the money. I'm just trying.
Well, you got to have a spot. You got to have a
I know.
spot for him. So, lots of questions that we can answer. At kind of later on after a couple more, hopefully, more games coming up. Yeah. So,
we'll answer after we win MLS Cup is what's going to happen. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we'll just keep the team, keep everybody.
There you go.
I think the only thing I'd throw in here is, I think especially with BL, we have struggled so hard to find that player to be that attacking midfielder. I know he's not playing that position right now with the new lineup we're doing, but like that's his more natural spot. And even with Swiderski, like, it's nice to say, oh, we found this guy who did this in this other country and is going to be really, really good. Let's bring him in. But like, we see how often that doesn't work. There's a part of me that's like, right now, this is working. Yeah. And I'd be wary of moving on from one of those without a really good reason to float it on someone we don't necessarily have the experience with. I don't know. That's just kind of like the devil kind of thing. Like I really like the way this group's playing together over the last few matches.
Could I sell you on keeping Pep on playing right wing, and then bringing on another attacking midfielder? Because I'm looking at like I'm looking at it right here, and like it's funny we were talking about him coming in as an attacking midfielder player, but like looking at his history here on like Transfer Market, and again, I know it's just whatever. He's played majority of his games at wing, not in the central mid. You know what I mean? So like it seems like that is more his natural position, even though we wanted him to play more of that attacking mid.
But sure, so even then, that's saying if you're bringing in somebody as a DP spot in the midfield, you're getting rid of Swiderski, right? So like that's Correct. The DP spot you're freeing up, and then I love Patrick, and I think Patrick has a super bright future. Do I want him going back to being our starting game in, game out striker? No, I don't. So I think that weakens us again up top, and we're kind of in a similar position. So like that's where I'm like, right now the balance, it's precarious, but it's good, and I would rather just like let's give this a little more run and build some.
I could see that.
Build some depth there. But you have opinions, Matt. I want to hear what you're going to say.
Yeah. So let me ask you this right now: who is our cam right now?
Brant Bronico.
It is. Yeah, it's Brant.
So, and I love me some Brant Bronico, right? But I've said probably like every single show for like 10 months, it seems like. I want Brant deeper in the lineup, like not playing the number 10. To me, that's not his strong suit. Now, you could put him anywhere on the field. He's going to do his thing. He's going to run. He's going to give you everything he has. But we got Pep, and we're like, all right, we got our number 10, but he's a winger. Okay, so we got Abada, who's a winger. We got Beal, who's a winger.
I wouldn't go so far to say he's a winger. He's playing winger for us out of necessity with the lineup. Yeah,
so we're still kind of missing like that number 10. So like I think we have to address that at some point. But how do you address it if you keep Biel? Does he actually play number 10? Do we go get another winger? So many questions to answer in the coming months, and it's going to be interesting just to see kind of like what this front office really thinks when it's all said and done about what we're going to do with Pep and Swiderski. Those two pieces are like going to, I think, really dictate what we're going to do going forward. And we might have to get creative of like who we bring in, and we may not have an extra DP slot. So how do you go and assess exactly what we need and where are they going to fit in?
Brant Bronico heard this episode, Swift, and he says, you know what? 3 years people have doubted me in playing here. and
That's
I've
right.
shown up every year and
That's the
proved
thing.
everyone wrong. So yeah,
And at like 3 coaches, he
and they
starts
still start him.
starts every game like, hey, play left back, I'll play left back. Hey, play the 6, I'll play the 6. Play the 8, I'll
I
play
still
the 8. Hey,
cannot believe we played him at left back.
Left
I
back.
can, considering the coach we had. But and then like,
Like-
hey, go play Cam.
Yeah.
Like that's not his game, but to his credit, man, it's just wherever you put him, he's just gonna give you everything he's got, man. And you can't knock
Is
it.
that work rate? Yep.
All right, moving on to the next question. From Eric Hill, which type of result gives you more confidence going into the postseason? This is multiple choice that I didn't put on the screen, but he has kind of different types of wins and which one gives you more confidence. So option 1 is a dismantling of bottom of the conference Revolution 4-0 at home. Comfortable but not certain until the end victories over Chicago and Montreal at home. Or drawing MLS leader Miami Super Squad, capital letters there, Miami Super Squad, 1-1 away. So which of those matches made you feel best about where the team is kind of in this final stretch of the season? Matt, are you starting? I should keep track of this better.
Yeah. To me, the Miami game, just because you got one of the best players in the world, and you were able to, for the most part, shut him down. He did score a goal, but I mean, Jesus, he had to do messy stuff to do that, and then to play the best team in the league, even without Messi, they've been amazing.
Yeah.
So to play the best team in the league at their home, jam-packed crowd, and not sit back, not just have a chance here and there. Like we could have won that game. Miami also could have won that game, but like I thought we played solid. And those types of games, when you're playing at Cincinnati and you have Acosta, when you're, whoever you're playing, they're going to have that marquee guy. You got to shut him down. And for the most part, we shut Messi down and held Suarez. Like that to me was really, really impressive. And I think that gives me the most confidence going in to the postseason.
Yeah. How about you, David?
Agreed. I don't have anything different. At Miami was the win. I think that was the most important thing for us to get momentum, show that we could score against the Supporters Shield winners, and do it on the road and still be able to get points on the road too. I think was really important.
I absolutely don't disagree. The only thing I'd say about the other ones, though, is I think it was really important for us to show that we can score goals.
Correct.
And we can finish.
Yeah.
Like that has been the thing that's killed us all season. The defense has been there. Being able to stop top players has been there for the most part all season. The finishing has been just abysmal for most of the season. So even though the competition isn't as good, and I agree with you that Miami is the best win or the best result as far as what makes me feel good about where this team is compared to the rest of the conference. I agree with you, Miami, but to me it was really satisfying to finally see like, oh, okay, like those offensive pieces we brought in, bringing Swiderski back, we're seeing Swiderski do things that we've been wanting to see him do for over a year. Like that was encouraging to me to see that finally start to click, because that was kind of the promise of the summer of when we made these offensive moves. Is like, all right, we're going to take this strong defense and we're going to build the offense on top of it. And we didn't see that for the first few matches. And when it finally clicked, it was like, oh, all right, I know we're playing the Revolution. I know this is not, a big marquee match, but oh boy, we just scored 4 goals. Here we go. And seeing that continue over a few matches too, where we're scoring 3-4 goals, that was really satisfying.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, yeah, New England's not great, Chicago's not great, but two of the Chicago goals, I mean, let's be honest.
That was a wild one.
But we kicked the crap out of those teams, and that's what you're supposed to do to inferior teams. You're supposed to like just take it to them, score multiple goals. And sometimes in the past, we've like struggled and had to eke something out. And make no mistake, that Montreal game, Montreal's good. And that's another team that we really struggle against. So it was good to see that. So yeah, if I had to pick one, it'd be the Miami game. But I think they're all important, Corey, to like your point, like getting multiple goals. Like We've scored 11 in 4 games. That's a shit ton. So it's good.
The Chicago match
literally
was
a quarter. Oops, sorry, I was gonna say that's like literally a quarter of our season goals in those. Matches.
Seriously. I was gonna say the Chicago match is one I was very happy to be sitting beside my friend Nate, the referee, to explain why that goal was offside, because that was so well. There were 2 offside goals. The one where the attacking, he told me a term. What was the attacking phase of play? Reset, and that's the reason it wasn't offside. And I was like, "That's." I would. Did y'all know this? Do we need to have a quick explainer? Okay.
Yeah, I know. Is he talking? Was it that first one or the?
It was the first
one?
offside one where the guy was offside earlier in the play. Yeah. But the quote unquote, I guess, technical rule book thing is like the attacking phase of play. He's gonna yell at me if I got this wrong. Was reset when we touched the ball and kicked it backward. So you know how when they can review in VAR, they can look back at all the build-up play? That resets once that attacking phase of play for the other team is over. So it reset when we kicked it back for like a half a second before they scored the goal. So there was offside before, but they couldn't review it because, I was furious. And he's like, you're right. It was offside. You should be furious, but like, here's why they didn't go back and review it. And I was like, okay. Thank you for
sounds
saying
like a bunch of hoopla to me. I don't want to. It's
a pot of bullshit. No. So you're right. You're right about that. But it at 100% offsides, and that line ref had missed a couple of other ones that didn't lead to anything. And so I guess that's what made me even more. Upset is like this guy was not in good position multiple times throughout the night, and then
What's hard too is they're taught not to put the flag with the new review rules. They're taught not to put their flag up because it can be reviewed later. But it bites you when they're taught not to put their flag up,
right?
But then they can't review it later. So it's like they probably knew it was offside. They didn't put the flag up because they were taught not to.
Yeah,
and then because of the way the play happened, we can't go back and review that one, and so then we're just stuck. Again, it didn't matter in the long run. We still won the match, but that was definitely one where I was like. I was really happy that he was sitting beside me to like at least rationally explain it to me as I was yelling. Anyway, it's good times. All right, Donnie. We'll go back to Donnie. We already talked about the first part of his question, which is who do we want in the first round of the playoffs. The second part of his question was why does the league have a best of 3 for round 1, but the rest is single elimination? It's
just money.
Is there another answer than the it's just money.
It's dumb and it's money. That's all it is. Like they probably what probably happened was they went to like Tim Cook from Apple's like we want to maximize as much ad revenue as we can. How can we do that? And Don Garber was like, you know what? We're gonna do this for the first round and then not do it for the rest because we get more games. Like I don't. Who knows? I don't know.
What I don't understand is like, okay, you do it for the first round, right, but not the other ones. The only thing I can think of is like the NFL season has started.
Yeah.
And so the scheduling maybe that's part of it. I don't know. That's
and you don't want to drag the season on too long. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like you do need a break. You got to have,
you know what would prevent that?
What?
Not having a mid-season tournament take up June and July. Then you want to have, scheduling congestion and, think I'm just.
Well, you could reduce the, yeah.
I love this.
Because you're gonna have other tournaments anyway going on, so you'd have to have MLS is just a weird freaking league, man.
MLS is what it is.
David's gonna abolish all other sporting events that are not MLS regular
NFL
season.
Go away. College football can stay. And NFL can only come back if the Panthers become good again in some way or fashion. So it's probably like 10 years from now. So it's fine.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I almost, I mean, I do like that it's a series because it makes, it probably should just be home and away, and just do that the whole way through like most places do. But I do like the fact that even if you're not a top 4 seed, like we get to host a playoff match. Right.
Sure.
And what was so hard about, or one of the things that was so hard about last season is like you play that play-in game, it's a one and done. Like your season is just over like that. Like we get, guaranteed 2 matches in the playoffs, and we see where we go from there. I think it should probably just be like a home and away up until the final, because that would make more sense, and that way you still get that, twice the ticket revenue and 2 different venues and all that kind of thing. But that would be it wouldn't be as hard to schedule as 3-game series, and then you can still get it done pretty quickly and have just the kind of one-off final. But anyway, I mean, I don't know if I like the best of 3 series, but I do like that it gives every team that makes the playoff a chance to host a playoff game and do that, which is really fun.
Yeah, maybe it is allowing the teams to get some revenue from a playoff game. You know, I don't know. Again, it's all kind of strange.
It is. All right, we're almost there, guys. We keep moving. Russell Varner, what gives you confidence going into the postseason, and what makes you nervous about the team? David?
Gives me confidence is our defense, because it has been pretty solid for most of the year. Nervous is still the attack, because it's been great the last 4 games. I'm just worried I don't want to say it's a splash in the pan. I want it to be consistent like that. I don't expect 4-goal games every week. I just want to make sure we have shots on target, chances created, goals when they're supposed to happen, and we stay competitive in those games because of that. So that's really that makes me nervous going into the playoffs, is like, I don't want our good mojo to run out already for these 4-goal games over the past few weeks.
Yeah. How about you, Matt?
Confidence-wise, again, I think we've kind of hit some form. Luckily, we are going to play this weekend, so there, we will stop kind of like this layoff type of thing. We do get a home playoff game too, which is nice. What concerns me or makes me nervous is that kind of touched on a little bit. Can other teams exploit certain areas of the field? I still think teams that can switch the ball quickly against us gives us trouble. And if we don't shut that down, I think that is the type of team that can really, really cause us problems and how we would lose. I still think sometimes we get a little overloaded. We're getting a little bit better with that, but I think teams that can switch the ball quickly and has fast runners that can get in behind. Sometimes I think communication-wise, we lose track of runners in the box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I almost wonder, as far as what makes you nervous, like, we changed up kind of our lineup and tactics, a few matches back. But now people have seen it. Like they have tape now. Like you always think about, like when a new quarterback comes in football, it's like, that first game or maybe in the first few drives, they can have some success because no one's ever seen them before. They're not really sure what to do with them. But now they've got tape. Like they can look and see exactly what we're doing. And you're right, teams that have weapons that can exploit what we're doing, whether that be finding things behind us or knowing how to shut down our attack. Like I think you're going to have some teams that are really talented, like a Cincinnati or whoever we end up playing in the playoffs, that might be able to find some answers for that. And it's not, it's not a new system we're playing now. Like they have the tape to kind of look back and see, like, what are we doing and how can they try to exploit that? I guess that's what makes me a little bit nervous, is how, it might still be that it works and it still is that, but that does make me a little nervous of, does this start to go away when people have more time to think about how they want to try to exploit what we're doing?
Yeah. That's why a team like, another thing too, like a team like Columbus that has a really solid midfield.
Yeah.
A team that can really like go toe to toe with us, with our midfielders, gives us problems too. But if I'm another team, I'm going to try to pin Nathan Byrne back, and I'm going to try to exploit with speed down Tim Ream's side. And I'm also going to try to get someone to kind of sit in the middle of Malanda and Privet and give them problems and where they're like miscommunicating. But yeah, I don't know. But hopefully teams won't catch on.
So if you're Cincinnati, DC, Columbus, don't listen to what Matt Swift just said. Just don't do that.
all the opposing teams, they tune in. We got them now. They gave away all the secrets.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
Also, too, probably if anybody from Charlotte FC is probably listening, like that's not
That's
none
not
of that's
correct at all.
accurate. None of that's true.
Go back to Europe. Christian
Everything you
Lattanzio.
said is absolutely false. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh man.
We are now
All right.
dumber for everything you just know.
All right, last question before we get out of here. Chris Gallagher, how far do we go in the playoffs? It's prediction time. How far do we make it in the MLS Cup playoffs? Matt.
Yeah.
Oh man, put me on the spot.
Yep.
I would love to say that we're going to win the whole thing. If I got to be, and I'm a big Charlotte FC homer, so it kind of pains me a little bit.
No, not us.
I think that, and depending on kind of where we finish, but let's say we play Cincinnati. That second round we play Columbus, and I'm just in a 3-game series. I worry, but here's the thing: if we get by Cincinnati and Columbus, I think we win. We could win the whole damn thing. I think we get to the final. I think we actually can get to the final if we beat those two teams. I think we'd be on such a high and on a roll. LAFC is just really, really good, and so is LA Galaxy. So that could be a problem when we get there. But I think we get past the first round. I do, at least.
David,
remember like a year ago, like Galaxy supporters were like boycotting and all this crazy stuff because how bad they were and all that stuff like that. And here we are. And I'm just trying.
Yeah.
So, no. I'm gonna take us on a quick little journey because I know everyone's probably at the end of this episode. I'm gonna rewind back time, and I'm gonna take you.
Turn back time.
Sorry. So go back to February of 2024.
Okay.
And there was a young man wearing a Charlotte FC kit in Vegas. And he put money on 3 bets.
Oh.
The first one was that Charlotte FC would finish in the top 7 in the playoffs.
Uh-oh.
Got it. He also put money down that he's...
To be clear, this person is you.
Yeah, this is me. Yeah, this is me. They also said that they would win the Eastern Conference title.
Oh, okay. Well,
And then also said that we would be the league winner. So I got a lot of flaming for the first time I was in Vegas where I said I put money against Charlotte to lose.
that's right.
Because I was like, hey, I'll win either way. They win and I lose money, so I'm happy we won. Or they lose and I win money, so it cancels it out. So I put my money where my mouth was, and I made some cheap little bets. They're not worth anything, but I made 3 little bets, and I think we're going to win it all. I'm going to win it all. We're going to win the whole thing. Messi, who, that's, who is that guy? Who was the guy that we were supposed to sign that went to LA? Like, who is that again?
Marco
Reus.
Reus.
Like,
Yeah,
Reus,
Reus,
who's that? Like, we're going to win the whole thing. Got it. That way I can win this, 6,000 to 1 odds to win. It'd be great.
Hey.
So.
Tell me there's a chance. I was gonna say my realistic prediction, but I don't want to sully. I like your.
No,
we're gonna end on we're winning the whole thing, and David's gonna walk away with like 200 pennies.
No, I put more money on that, but it's not the David's gonna get a tattoo of Christian Fuchs if scores off a corner with his left foot across the field moment. But I do agree with Swift. Homer and me says we win the whole thing, and I'm just gonna say we're going to win the whole thing. I'm just gonna speak it into existence.
There you go.
We're gonna win the whole thing.
It's great.
Can I end the show being petty?
Only if you go ahead.
Is there a better way to end the show than being petty? I mean, honestly.
Can we talk about Austin and St. Louis? As much shit as this franchise got, and not all the fans, but some of the fans, were not happy with how we were doing things. And some pundits in the league were touting Austin and how excited they were and how St. Louis was this and that. Austin has sucked balls, and St. Louis is not going to be in the playoffs, and they can suck it. So that's all I got. I just wanted to say that, man.
I think they need to listen to the song you just sang a second ago, Swift. If I can turn back time.
I do think St. Louis's season last year was a fluke. The Western Conference sucked, and they still lost. St. Louis lost a crap ton of games. And
they
I
lost
think
in the first round.
they lost in the first round. This year, they tied a lot of games, and now they're at the bottom. And Austin has not been good since they've come in. They had like one decent season. Since then, they haven't been good. And look at us, like getting better every single year.
Yep.
So I just want to like tout us in the front office and our fans and what we're doing here. Everybody should be really, really excited. And we have still room to improve. Yes, there's lots. We've made lots of mistakes, but I think we've fixed those mistakes quickly, and we keep moving and progressing. And I'm really excited about this franchise. I'm glad I'm not in another fan base. I'll just say that.
Agreed. They
Completely
can take
agreed.
that toasted ravioli and shove it.
I hope St. Louis sucks every single year. Their fans were such. Never mind. They were.
I agree.
Horrible.
I was obnoxious in that stadium. It's okay though. It's all good.
Just,
it's okay.
Just then, Matt Baker. Everybody probably knows him. Like I've tried my best not to say anything to him, but like they were just so obnoxious about our team and what we were doing, and like, oh man, must suck for you to be in the playoffs in your second year. Yeah. Anyway,
Welcome back, everybody.
Suck on that.
Well, this is such a good, just like straight into the veins of our listeners.
We made the playoffs,
Good.
man. This is awesome. Like we
This
didn't make
is
the
awesome.
play-in game. We've made the playoffs. We have a chance to even improve this weekend. I'm excited to be a Charlotte FC fan.
It's a good time. It's a good time.
Agreed.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. We have some soccer to watch this weekend. We will be back next week, right? Can we make a promise on the air here that we'll actually do a show next week?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's get back to doing the show consistently.
So
Well,
we'll be back
the
next
Manscaped stuff has really got me excited, so I really want to.
Yeah, we got to come back to that. We have to come back. So we'll be back next week to talk about what happened at Walters, and then preview our first bid in the non-play-in game of the MLS playoffs. So
Yeah.
thanks, Matt. Thanks, David. Enjoyed it as always. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
See you guys.